Diego el Mulato, the slave who became Spain's worst nightmare. Welcome to the Stolen Chapters, the channel dedicated to uncovering the forgotten and hidden stories of Black history that shaped our world. Today, we explore the remarkable life of Diego el Mulato, a man born into slavery who escaped the chains of oppression to become one of the most feared pirates of the Caribbean. Known for his daring raids against Spanish ships and towns in the 17th century, Diego's story is one of resistance, courage, and the relentless fight for freedom. Join us as we dive deep into his extraordinary journey. Chapter 1: The Birth of a Rebel. Early Life and Enslavement. In the early 1600s, in the bustling port city of Havana, Cuba, a child was born who would come to shake the very foundations of colonial power. Diego el Mulato was of mixed African and Spanish heritage, a fact that would shape his complex identity and fate. His mother was an enslaved African woman, brought across the Atlantic amid the brutal transatlantic slave trade, while his father was believed to be a Spanish settler. Growing up in the harsh conditions of slavery, Diego witnessed the cruelty inflicted upon his people. Havana in this era was a hub of Spanish colonial power, a city buzzing with ships laden with gold, silver, and enslaved souls. The Spanish Empire had grown rich on the backs of enslaved Africans and indigenous peoples, their dominance secured through brutal military force and systematic oppression. From a young age, Diego showed a fierce spirit and unyielding will. He learned to navigate the complex social and racial hierarchies of colonial Cuba, but slavery's chains weighed heavily on him. It is believed that Diego worked in the shipyards, learning the art of seamanship, a skill that would become his weapon in the fight for freedom. Chapter 2: The Great Escape. From slave to pirate. The exact date of Diego's escape from slavery is lost to history, but scholars estimate it occurred around the 1630s. The story goes that Diego seized an opportunity during the chaos of a ship's arrival. Using his knowledge of ships and the sea, he fled into the dense mangroves surrounding Havana's harbor. From there, Diego sought refuge among the Maroons, communities of escaped slaves who had established hidden settlements deep within the Caribbean jungles and mountains. The Maroons, fierce defenders of their freedom, taught Diego guerrilla tactics, survival skills, and the ways of resistance. He quickly earned their respect, becoming a leader among them. But Diego's ambitions stretched beyond survival. He knew that to strike at the heart of colonial power, he would have to master the seas, the lifeblood of Spain's empire. Diego began assembling a small band of like-minded men, freed slaves, pirates, and outcasts, all united by a desire to undermine Spanish rule. Chapter 3: Rise of the Pirate. The reign of Diego el Mulato. By the 1640s, Diego el Mulato had become a formidable pirate captain, feared by the Spanish across the Caribbean Sea. His base was rumored to be on the islands of the Cuban archipelago and the coastlines of what is now the Yucatan Peninsula. One of the most famous incidents was the raid on the Spanish port of Campeche in 1642. With a small fleet of swift ships, Diego and his crew launched a surprise attack at dawn, overwhelming the Spanish garrison. They seized valuable cargo, gold, silver, and weapons, and disappeared into the labyrinth of Caribbean islands before Spanish reinforcements could arrive. Diego's tactics were cunning and ruthless. Unlike many pirates of the era who sought only riches, Diego's raids were also acts of rebellion against the oppressive colonial system. He targeted ships carrying enslaved Africans and precious metals, striking blows at the economic heart of Spanish dominance. Chapter 4: Allies and Enemies. Complex Caribbean Alliances. Diego el Mulato was not just a pirate but a shrewd strategist. He forged alliances with other pirate captains, indigenous tribes, and maroon communities across the Caribbean. His network stretched from Cuba to Jamaica and down to the coasts of Venezuela. However, these alliances were precarious. European powers, especially Spain, England, and France, vied for control over the Caribbean. Each had their own pirate factions and colonial militias, leading to constant conflicts and shifting loyalties. Diego often clashed with Spanish naval forces sent to capture or kill him. Despite their superior numbers and firepower, Diego's intimate knowledge of the islands and hit-and-run tactics made him elusive. Chapter 5. The Legacy of Diego el Mulato. A symbol of resistance. Diego's fate remains shrouded in mystery. Some say he died in battle in the late 1640s. Others believe he escaped to live a quiet life on a hidden island. But his legend lived on, inspiring countless enslaved Africans and oppressed peoples to resist colonial rule. Diego el Mulato stands as a symbol of defiance, a man who transformed from enslaved captive to feared pirate, turning the tools of his oppression into weapons of freedom. Thank you for joining us on the Stolen Chapters as we uncovered the extraordinary story of Diego el Mulato, a forgotten hero of Black history who fought back against slavery and colonial tyranny. Our mission is to bring these hidden stories to light, giving voice to those erased from history. If you believe in the power of truth and the importance of remembering our past, please support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your support helps us continue to create these videos, uncovering the stories that history tried to steal. Together, we reclaim the stolen chapters.